Welcome back to the 1% Frequency Podcast. Today's episode is a segment from She Leads Money, a 5-day experience where you will reclaim internal authority, change your relationship with money, and cross the point where income can no longer resist you. To unlock access to the whole experience, including a 50-minute subconscious reprogramming in Theta Brainwave, head to the show notes where the link to join is waiting for you. Enjoy. Beautiful humans, welcome to She Leads Money, our 5-day experience where we are going to make you irresistible to bringing your money into your life, but in a very, very, very different way from what you have probably experienced in other programs. Because this is not about making you a frequency match to more money or attracting money into your life or any of these very common things that we see in many money manifestation programs. Now, I've been working with money mindset and energetics of money, etc., for quite a few years now, learning from different teachers. I recently noticed a shift in the industry. So interesting because it's really been correlating with the start of this year. But I noticed in the past month, probably 2 other teachers talking about money in a similar way to what we're going to be talking about here. And this was after I already designed and channeled this experience. And I was like, oh, that is very curious. So there is something happening in the collective that is bringing through a different understanding of money and, dare I say, an accurate understanding of money. An accurate understanding of money that is not relying on us outsourcing our sovereignty, our authority, and our power to money. Okay? So this is what this experience is really about. It is internal authority restoration. It is developing inner sovereignty, restoring it where it belongs, inside of you, where money does not get to dictate your safety, does not get to dictate your worth, does not get to dictate how powerful you feel, and where money will, once you do make a lot of it, never be used and abused for you to play out unconscious power and domination control mechanisms. Because this is what we see happens a lot with money, not because of money, but because of the healing that was not done. So this will be a 5-day experience. Every day you will receive a transmission in here. Sometimes it will be followed by journaling prompts for cultivating awareness and gaining insight into your own unique patterns. Some days there will be a reprogramming that you will receive and you will get to do, okay? I recommend setting aside 30 to 60 minutes every day if you can. I recommend really being present with this. I recommend the frequency behind these transmissions. Let it work on you because this isn't just information. This is all channeled information. And this vibration that is underlying it is meant to awaken remembrance inside of you. It's to activate parts of your field, even parts of your DNA that are ready to be awakened at this part of your journey. Now, what I am going to say is that, of course, in this experience, we cannot possibly do all the work that needs to be done around money. As you will see in today's transmission, money is complex when it comes to our subconscious for a reason, and not because money is complicated. If you are ready for deep work, where you learn how to actually work with your subconscious mind, how to deeply rewire every single aspect of your relationship to money, as well as your relationship to clients, visibility, personal power, sales, etc., CO frequency is where you come. And CO frequency is where we work with your subconscious mind and the nervous system on both somatic level, energetic level, mental level. We cover all layers of your being in order to rewire the energetic architecture, because that's what your subconscious mind is the energetic architecture of your reality. And when we rewire that, your reality responds. If you know already, you're meant to be in CO frequency. Everybody who joins during this challenge or following this challenge in the week after gets a special bonus. So you will see me advertising CO frequency on my social media. Don't buy from that link. DM me privately. Let's talk about whether or not that is the right step for you, or if you know that it is, send me just like, hey, Halia, please send me the link. I can't wait to be inside CO frequency and I'll send it to you. But you get a special link with a special bonus that will not be available to anyone else. So just saying, but I'm not telling you what it is. We're keeping some mystery here. If you were in CO frequency before and you want to join again, you get in with a big discount, okay? CO frequency this time around is completely upgraded. So those of you who were there before, the subconscious reprogramming materials are more or less the same, but there is an entire 3 new sections added on top that cover different aspects of somatic work, frequency imprinting, and totally new ways of actually getting to know where your energy leaks and subconscious programming that you need to work with are. So this is going to be the most comprehensive subconscious reprogramming curriculum that probably exists out there, combining the most potent, precise tools. So if you want to join for the next round, send me a DM privately and I will send you a very special link. Okay, now let's get into it. Money doesn't have a frequency. There is no entity of money. There is no frequency form that exists independently that we know as money. There is simply an agreed upon exchange of value and all the subconscious and conscious projections that we as humans placed upon it. You may have heard people talk about the frequency of money. You may have heard them talk as money being its own consciousness. Money has no free will. Money has no agency of its own. Money does not have the sovereignty, the power, the directionality that we as fractals of Creator have. Does money come from Creator? Yes, everything does. But if you put a pile of money in a room and you close the door, what is that money going to do? Nothing. Disintegrate over time or simply sit there. We have heavily over-spiritualized money in this industry. We're going to talk later about what we've really done with it. But for now, I want you to understand, money has no frequency. Money has no agenda. Money has no free will. Money has no choice in where it goes. Money doesn't choose to come to you. So allow that to just land in your system so you can release any need to keep hustling for money, attracting money, changing yourself for money, healing yourself for money, any of that bullshit that we were conditioned to do. Now, while money has no frequency of its own, no agenda, free will, and direction of its own, it did become a proxy. As I mentioned before, while money has its no original frequency, it's been projected upon. We project our thoughts, project onto everything in our lives. We project onto people in our lives and sometimes obligate them to treat us a certain way. We project on our pets and sometimes make them sick through those projections or heal them. We project onto our homes, onto the plants, onto ourselves. Each energetic projection we cast carries a frequency and carries an imprint that is placed on the energetic field of that person unless that person or that being is energetically sovereign enough to know how to cleanse and protect their field every day. Which is, by the way, what I'll teach inside CEO Frequency, because we all need to learn how to do it, okay? We did that with money. So money became a proxy. It became a proxy for safety, for stability, also for worth and for power. That happened because of the split. It happened because of the original distortion, the original wounding that humanity greatly suffers from, and that is the root cause of all suffering. This is the original wounding of separation, the original wounding of severing from God, from source energy. Now, let's backtrack for a moment. My core genius and why everybody's going to come work with me, like that's the reason why people come to me, is depth, the ability to go much deeper into understanding the common denominators of the architecture of our reality than most people I have met. So let's backtrack for a moment and go deeper into why that happens. The ego. What is the ego? The ego is the energetic and subconscious construct representing I, me, what Alia is and what Alia isn't. But ego cannot exist on its own. Our ego is relational. We as beings are relational. Why? Because in this universe, everything's connected. The highest truth is we are separate from nothing. And we live in this illusion where we get to experience what it feels like to be separate. But we are not. So our definition of I always coexists with we. At a very deep level, the way we're encoded is always relational. That's how our nervous system works. If you think about when the child is born, so the entire time you're in the womb from conception to birth, and then for about the first 2 years, you're in a delta brainwave. Delta brainwave is a oneness. The child perceives no separation from the mother. It absorbs everything from the mother. Then afterwards, we co-regulate by attuning to other people's systems and environment. It's always relational. So we're always enmeshed with everything else energetically. We cannot be separated. The question is just, what is the quality of the bonds that attaches and enmeshes with others? And who do we choose to have enmeshments with? What forms of consciousness? What forms of ideas? Now, the healthy way for a human to exist is to be connected, to be enmeshed, if we want, with the source energy, with the ultimate source of love, of safety, of provision, as well as power, actual healthy power, purpose, worth, and healthy aligned influence come from. That all comes from God. An awakened, healthy human being has restored, has remembered, and has embodied connection to source energy. And it gets everything from there. It feels whole and complete. However, I think everybody here can probably agree with the fact that most of us were not raised through being modeled that. We were born into a world that operates at a very low level of consciousness. We were probably born to parents that weren't as healed as we would have ideally wanted. We were not born in a world where we were allowed to be ourselves, to shine our own unique, authentic frequency without negative consequences, punishment, abandonment, emotional or physical. So the separation was created. And even if we were born to perfect parents, which no one was, we still carry deep energetic separation on our DNA. And normally in our auric fields, which is where collective subconscious and past life imprints live. Some of us even on the level of our soul. So every single one of us carries these, they're like indentation. Is that a word? Indentation? Y'all know what I mean. I'm foreign. Of light in our fields. It's like where there was like light was constricted. Something dug into our field. When we experience shock and trauma, it's like a dagger is put into our frequency field. It creates, it's like a mini black hole almost, where it constricts the field, it pulls it down, it pulls the light inside, and it collapses the aura. And this is where then these connections to thought forms that are not of the highest light, of the highest truth, are formed. Okay? Now, that's all normal, by the way, right? None of that's bad, but it's the energetic understanding of what is happening. Now, when this connection with God is severed, to the extent that we actually forgot it, that we cannot feel it, where we feel lonely, we feel abandoned, we feel confused, we feel anxious, depressed, or we feel stressed out all the time, we feel urgency. The ego will look for something else to latch onto. Remember that the ego is relational. Okay? For a lot of us, for a lot of humanity, that first became, of course, our parents, where the co-regulation wasn't done in a way where we learned to be self-sufficient. We developed coping mechanisms, right? We know them as attachment styles. And that also got projected onto money. As well, I want you to keep in mind, as we talk about these things, that because we will talk about money as a proxy for safety, but also for power, for worth, that we're not just talking about what you learned as a child, we talk about imprints as well that are there from your ancestors and your past lives. So you carry multiple ones, okay? Inside CEO frequency, we work with core belief levels, ancestral belief levels, past life belief levels, soul level belief levels, because we all carry all of them, what weight they carry, how important they are, and whether or not you're ready to work with them at this level or you even need to work with them. That's a totally different and individual question. But remember that your own experience in your childhood is not the only element of what one day you may need to look at, even though it's mostly what we're going to be working with inside this experience for obvious reasons, because we have 5 days, okay? So money then became a proxy for a lot of these things. This is why money is so charged, because it's one of those things that everything gets projected upon. All these essential parts of what it means to be a human, feeling worthy, feeling proud of ourselves, walking around this world, with this sense of like, healthy I am, like I deserve to take space in this world. I deserve to have joy. I deserve to have freedom. I deserve to have experiences. I deserve to feel deeply safe and supported, nourished, taken care of. All of those things can be mapped onto money. So money became a convergence point for the projections and externalization of all of these needs and desires that we didn't learn to give ourselves internally. Did you catch that? Money became a convergence point for the externalized needs and desires that we couldn't fulfill internally. But this is what you will notice in the world and even with yourself. If this original separation from source energy isn't bridged, money never fills it. And this is why people who don't do healing and have a lot of money, they normally go one of the two ways. They have money and it's never enough. And they hoard more and more and more and more. And they're rich as fuck and miserable as fuck. Or people use money to dominate. When there is power distortion in the field, we have a whole module on power inside Seal Frequency because it's such an important topic. When power becomes synonymous with control and domination, then we see what we see in most of the world leaders today. It's not because they're terrible people. Most people on that planet, given that amount of money and power, would do the same. Because money doesn't have agenda, will, or frequency of its own. Money amplifies. It amplifies you, just like power amplifies. Influence amplifies. It just increases the number of opportunities you have. It increases your access to opportunity and your selection of opportunity within that showcases who you are. That's what money does. Money doesn't corrupt, it amplifies. Now, for us, this is really important to talk about because I know every single person here, you want to do good things with money. You want to increase collective consciousness. You want to help. And every single one of you has a totally different path of doing that. But in order for you to be able to do that, you got to correct your posture when it comes to money. You got to correct your relationship to money. Because a lot of people in this industry created a cult around it. People build altars to money. They don't have an altar to creator. They may scoff at, religion, and I'm not religious. I have a lot of opinions about, the church. But they may have an altar to money at home. They may worship money. Is that healthy? I won't give you an answer because it's your own to discover. But is that actually a teaching that is healthy? Is it putting money in its rightful place on an altar where the center of the sacred in your house should be? I wonder. Well, you can decide whether or not having a money altar is healthy. Let's talk about what money dictates in your life. If money has the ability to dictate how you move, how safe you feel, when you can relax, how worthy or powerful you feel, how successful you feel, how worthy of teaching what you teach you are, how competent as a business owner you are. Money has power over you. And money that's not even a living consciousness with a free will, like we are, like we humans are, has been allowed to dictate your life. You chase it, you pray to it, you write affirmations, you buy books, while being disconnected from the true source of your abundance. So, this 5-day experience will be about restoring and correcting this relationship. It's going to be about restoring sovereignty back where it belongs, you, and restoring a connection to the true source of your abundance, your safety, your life, rather than placing that authority externally. The truth is that this is going to be a huge theme in 2026. We're going to be seeing massive changes in leadership inside this industry, but also externally. we're going to be seeing a rise of a completely new leader that is built on solid foundations. And one of the major themes of 2026, anything built on wobbly foundations will fall. Relationship to money built on wobbly foundations will fall. Businesses built on wobbly foundations will fall. There are a lot of business owners right now who are feeling the wobble because they're being called into a deeper alignment and to check where authority actually lies and where they are still outsourcing their authority to money. So, today, we're going to look at something very, very simple, and I'm going to give you a few prompts. We're going to look at what money represents to you on the subconscious level. Because money in the subconscious is not represented as money, it's represented as what you get from it. Safety, stability, freedom, worth, opportunity, adventure, power. It can be any of those. It's probably going to be many. I will give you 1 or 2 simple journaling prompts, and I want you to just work with that and get clear on what it is that money actually represents to you. Because it is your subconscious relationship to those things, to safety, stability, worth, etc., that actually constricts or opens up the flow of abundance into your life, not your relationship to money itself. Again, money doesn't have its own consciousness. Tomorrow, we're going to look at your unique relationship with money and safety. So that's true. Money is connected to safety for every single person. We're going to look at your unique way of how that connection and relationship works and where it started. Wednesday, we'll be working with your subconscious mind, returning the authority where it actually belongs. And then on Thursday, we'll be looking at other non-safety related ways that money is represented in your subconscious. And we'll be untangling the false cords, the false relationships, one by one, to create openness and spaciousness and ease in your relationship to money, so that you can not only call it in, but that you can steward it with responsibility, with intention, and with sovereignty.
If anything landed for you in this episode, pause and feel what shifted. Maybe money feels a little less in charge. Maybe your body feels less urgent. Maybe you can sense how deeply your nervous system, not your strategy, has been steering your relationship with money. She Leads Money opens the door. It shows you how money became a proxy for safety, worth, and power, and how your attachment to safety has been running your business from behind the scenes. But awareness alone doesn't change your frequency. Embodiment does. That's what CEO Frequency is for, a 6-month container where leaders clear the ancestral, karmic, and energetic roots that block their next level of money, visibility, and impact. We work at the intersection of your nervous system, subconscious mind, and energy field, weaving somatic, subconscious, and energetic work so your internal architecture rewires and your reality follows. If you feel the pull, head to the link in show notes. I cannot wait to see you inside.